Independent rapper reveals how much he spends on marketing. Let's go.
What's poppin', y'all? We finally get to look under the hood of what it really costs to be a full-time independent rapper that's also trying to scale. I posted this on my Instagram at Hello Yassine, where I mostly post stuff like this. And this guy, LaRussell, who I've known about for at least 2+ years. I think the first time I had ever heard about him was on a YouTube video that was a stream clip from one of Academic's homies maybe 4 years ago that was like, yo, you really need
he's
to
been in the
check
game
out
for a while.
LaRussell. He was telling Academics that. I was like, what's a LaRussell? But anyway, this guy posted it and said it takes millions to become a successful artist. Even more when you're independent and spending your own paper. This is not easy or cheap. This is just 90 days of advertising on one platform to make sure our art is seen, heard, and felt globally. This doesn't include seeding, clipping, YouTube, Spotify campaigns, etc. If you're competing against a machine, you have to build your own machine. The reason I've been able to get as big as some major artists is because I treat and invest in myself like a major artist. This is why it's important to buy direct and support your favorite artists outside of streaming, especially if they are independent. And then he shows how much he spent on ads in the past 90 days. And I think this is just Facebook/Instagram. That's what it looks like. It looks like the ads manager there. And it was $120,000 in the last 90 days. So he's running 64 different ads or 64 different, what do you call that? Variations, ad sets. I haven't been in.
That sounds about right as far as how much he's spending just running ads on one platform, right? He has $120,000 spent on 64 ads in the last 90 days, y'all. Now, this to me looks like this is on Instagram. LaRussell, you're going to have to go ahead and start getting to TikTok, bro, a little bit more because the reach is better. The seeing his content, right? I'm a YouTuber, right? So my whole thing is YouTube content, but you can also utilize a lot of content. People know you on YouTube. Spend more time on that YouTube and build. Like Instagram is great. You know what I'm saying? It works for him, it works, but that's a lot of cake. And he's right. You gotta spend a lot of money to compete with a big machine. You can't, even though he has a name for himself, to be in the eyeballs in front of people, you have to continue to brand in some type of way, whether it's putting up money or it's hiring folks. It's all types of things, to clipping, to putting videos out, to investing, to This is cake, man. This is a lot of cake to spend.
That side of and that side of things for a very, very, very long time. But yeah, you see the views, 19.5 million, the reach, 5.4 million, the link clicks, nearly 500,000, and the post engagement, 5 million. And this spurred a ton of people to say a bunch of different things. And also people that have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But first, I'm going to go through LaRussell's tweets, and then we're going to get into my thoughts on the whole thing. And then someone says, 120K on ads is crazy AF, though at some point you'll be needing to spend less and less as your fan base grows and grows. He says, depends on how much you want your brand to grow. You want to sell 100 tickets or 100,000? You spend based on the goal. I want to be the biggest ever. And then someone says, you making profit off that? And he says, plenty. Well, he better be at least breaking even. You can't spend money like that and not break even, or else the ads are going to stop. Don't listen to advice from unsuccessful people in the comments. I think this is one of the most important things this guy said. The worst thing you can do is be deterred by someone who ain't ever been in the game. Let them spectate and scream from the bleachers. That's all they can do. It was people in the bleachers booing Michael Jordan. And then
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That was hard. That was hard.
The important part of all of this is ads
that was
only
hard,
work
bro.
if the product is desired. Ads help me spread the word. Great product is what grew my base and my brand. You can't advertise your way to success. You have to have something people want. I only run ads behind posts that are already having organic success. If a million people love it, then so will 10 million if they have the chance to see it. Off rip, a lot of people were surprised with the amount of money, unaware that the majority of artists that you are consistently seeing, especially the mainstream ones, you think their labels are not paying to have them posted, and they're not paying this amount of money on a 90-day basis or a quarterly basis? Yes, they are. Maybe even more than that. Like, you guys remember when you were seeing Lil Durk everywhere, or when you were seeing Jack Harlow everywhere? You think everyone was just posting Jack Harlow just because? There is a bit of a trickle-down effect, or you could say a trickle-up effect, depending. But those guys, they were spending at least $250,000. How do you think an artist gets popping? This is the funny thing too. Like, everyone thinks, oh man, like that artist is just lit. That's why everybody's posting them. But then when an artist that they like is not being spread and getting bigger, they're like, yo, the label's not spending on marketing. So what marketing would the label spend on if you think the lit artists get posted for free and the non-lit artists are not being pushed by their label? Do you see how it's like a little bit of dissonance right there? There's a little bit of a paradox, a little bit of a contradiction you're holding in your head. And this is also a very good example of why artists, like some people are, yo, why doesn't an artist just do everything? Dog, this is why artists have managers, especially if they're independent. It's usually the manager's more of a business partner in that case in handling so much of this. Because the fact that this guy's able to wear all of these hats is very, very impressive. And he's also tested and experimented with a ton of models. And by models, we're talking about like revenue models. For instance, when you look at G59, Gray 59, boys, these guys' catalog is worth a disgusting amount of money. Like a very, very disgusting amount of money. Maybe, I think they've probably touched 100. Maybe 100 M's just off of the music catalog. But earlier on in their career, when they were just dropping stuff on SoundCloud, they made their model was taken from the model of Puya, which was the same model that Team Sash, Bones, those guys were doing at the time, which was the music was free on SoundCloud, Media, Firelinks. So you could download it and you could just listen to it and stream it. And SoundCloud wasn't really paying like that. YouTube, maybe they were making a little bit of bread here and there, but the majority of their bread came from touring and merchandise. And it
that's actually kind of smart.
wasn't just merchandise, like, oh, this is artist merch. Like, it became like a brand, an offshoot of what they made. Like, for example, like Team Sesh, Hollow Squad. Hollow Squad, not as much as Team Sesh, but G59 became like its own brand. So G59 and the touring made the majority and the bulk of their bread. So I say that to say a lot of artists now, especially underground artists, people that are coming up, the model is, okay, get lit, get a couple of poppin' songs, maybe consistently release, you have a good amount of monthly listeners, you're making your bread off of streams, and you're cooling. And that's one way to do it, but there are other ways to do it. Because La Russell, for instance, he doesn't have a million monthly listeners. He has like 500,000 monthly listeners, which is not a crazy amount. So how is he able to not only spend this money on ads, means he's making a lot more money, but even when he was smaller, when he had maybe 100 to 200,000, he was doing a bunch of different things. So one of the things that he got very popular for, the people that knew him
his backyard,
is, I believe he's based out of the Bay Area, Vallejo. So he would do shows at his own home, and he would allow fans to pay it was like a pay what you can model, where, hey, look, I'm throwing a show, pay what you can, pay what you like. If you enjoyed the show, pay me more money. Like, some people would pay nothing, some people would pay $1, some people would pay 10, some people would pay 50, and some people would pay 100. I think it was starting at $1, and that ended up like making him some bread. And
which is a really cool idea and concept, because it's like, bro, you wake up, you go to the backyard and you perform, and then go back in your home / office, create music, do stuff, plan business. It's really dope.
He became known for this. And the reason why I think this is so special is because he's looking for alternative models and alternative paths than what everyone else is exploring.
And on top of that, the saving you have to perform in your own backyard than to having to go perform at a venue. Even if it's a small venue, you still have to pay for security and all these other things. He does it all at home and shop type thing. I don't know if he still does it, but it was a brilliant idea.
And that's also why being an artist, or just being, you could call it like even a digital artist, right? Sketch artist, all of these other things, why it's so much cooler than a lot of other things, a lot of other standard paths, is because there is no standard path. Like, for example, people will say, like, one thing I dislike a lot is when people say, oh, Coi Leray made it because her dad's Benzino and he was in the industry. Benzino has been broke, or Benzino's been struggling for who knows how long. Benzino's burnt every single bridge he's built for over 15 years, and Benzino had nothing to do with Coi Leray's success whatsoever. So Coi Leray made it on her own. But the point is, Coi Leray kind of really got on because of Trippie Redd. So there could be a relationship that gets an artist on. There could genuinely be a familial relationship. Like, for example, who's somebody that really, really helped their kid? I can't think of off the top of my head, but that has happened in the past. Like a Lil Wayne, right? We can say Lil Wayne putting his sons on his project really propped them up and gives them an opportunity. So there's also the cosign effect, right? Like there's Future, and I think it was Boston Richie. Boston Richie got a strong cosign from Future that sent him up. Pooh Shiesty, he got a strong cosign from Gucci Mane that helped put him up.
Gucci Mane low-key put a lot of people on the Atlanta scene, bro. A lot of folks, bro. A lot.
Artists that just forced their way into the game, and like Yeat, for example. Like Yeat might have got some Yeat came up in a group, not a group that made music together, but like a loosely affiliated group, and then Yeat came up really on his own. Of course, like he got signed to management and all that, but he got noticed by Zach Bia on his own in a completely different way. So music is interesting because people can end up in the same position, which is a full-time artist, in more ways than we can count. So there's no set path. And the same way to revenue. So this guy, he's experimented with ways of making revenue that other artists haven't. So other artists, they need to be like, okay, I need to get more streams. I need to be bigger in order to really survive or to sustain. And I do think that model, the streaming model, it's probably a little bit harder, but it is also more comfortable because it allows for the artist to just continue doing what they want to do, which is like, okay, I'm streaming enough. I'm making a surplus of money. I can just buy more equipment, I can just make more music, and then I can just release more music. And everything else is what I want to do. And I'm happy with that. And I do think that's the ideal. But La Russell is one of those people that's kind of breaking ground where he's experimenting a bunch of different things. Like I said, there was the pay what you can model. He's got his own team. Like he did not hop on a record label, even though record labels would probably offer him partnerships. They would give him money up front. They would handle all of these other things. And I think his team members have a percentage instead of getting paid like a salary. He became very, very big and loved locally. Like he's a guy that even if you don't necessarily like his music, and I think there was a clip of him talking about this, it's hard to dislike him and it's hard not to want him to win. Like there are probably 2 or 3 La Russell songs that I would listen to. Most of it is because I'm just not too much of a fan of the Bay Area sound, and he's strong into that Bay Area sound. I do think he's a skilled artist, far more, I think, skilled at business. And one of the traits that I admire about this guy is he is not afraid to fail, be embarrassed, to experiment, and have an experiment not work out. He's just going to hop on to the next thing right after that. So here, him revealing how much he spent too, that's a level of vulnerability that you don't see from other artists, which is part of like paving the way. Like this created a lot of conversation. A lot of people found out who he was because of this. How many people will check out his music because of it? I don't know. But there are people that will fall into his orbit. And I think that's his intention with a lot of different things. Because he does interviews. He does like just random talking videos. He does videos where he's kind of like kicking game and motivation to independent artists. He kind of does videos where he's talking about business to people that may not even be artists. They may just be operating up.
And that's one thing I do like about La Russell is that he talks about, he's very transparent about his journey as an independent artist. When you're independent as an artist, as so creative, it's not easy task, right? Because you're fully betting on yourself. The whole revenue, the whole figuring out a system to be able to supply for the people who's helping you build this whole entity, right? And he's in a very unique position because he's been doing it for a while, being independent, and he's constantly finding ways and trying to pioneer and to be innovative. And I think as long as he does that, man, he's gonna be perfectly fine because it works hand in hand with his art, right? It just does. So let's see what else he has to say towards this video.
Other businesses. So he's casting this wide net, and then whoever falls into his music falls in. And then some people just like his brand. I think it's like called The Good Company. They're like, yo, I like this guy. I like his brand. His clothing looks cool. It looks like something I would wear, so I would support that. So he's becoming like this it's like the everything store. Was that Walmart that they was Sam Walton? That was Walmart the everything store? He's kind of like becoming the everything artist, which is a very unique proposition for somebody that's independent. So I'm really interested in seeing how this continues to develop. I think it was even Patrick CC had quote tweeted it and said, yo, if you guys think that this is a lot, you have no idea what labels are spending. And yeah, these people have no idea. Like,
That's
a lot
true.
of fans want to believe that an artist that they discovered was a hidden gem and nobody was on their team, nobody was promoting them, nobody was paying money for them to be heard. They just unearthed a rare metal. When the truth is, unless you caught them really, really, really like disgustingly early, then there was money put behind it, which is
Yeah, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say before we end it. Imagine with Drake. I mean, Drake literally when he was on a label, right? How much money that they had to pay to get that man heard on radio stations and everywhere. I mean, they spent a lot of money, bro, and they gotta make it back somehow. So yeah, I see it. Anyways, man, shout out to Hello Yasin. We're gonna put your channel in the description. This guy makes fire content. Still gonna be just reacting to his stuff because he gives a lot of banger stuff, man. So yeah. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed it, get a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, we make dope reactions over here about a lot of multi pop culture stuff. And yeah, see you on the next one. Peace.